Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, some people in the UFO community believe that under the new incoming Trump administration, there's going to be a chance to get UFO disclosure pretty quickly. That's what Christopher Sharp, who writes for the Liberation Times, was talking about in an article that he published today on his website. I'll leave a link for it. You can check it out, read the entire article. I'm going to read some segments of it today. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later. We're going to talk about some strange stuff that's going on in California relating to that all those terrible wildfires that are going on right now. And I have a special segment also that it's going to be a recurring segment that's going to happen every once in a while, and I'm going to introduce that toward the end of the episode today. But first I want to talk about Christopher Sharp's article, and the headline reads, UFO Disclosure End Game. He says things could move fast in the coming weeks and months. The incoming Trump administration must act decisively to disclose information about unidentified anomalous phenomena. The stakes have never been higher, with advocates and skeptics vying for influence within the United States government. And then the early part of the article, he talks about the potentiality of people like David Grusch, Lue Elizondo, and Karl, Nell, who are big-time UFO disclosure advocates, actually becoming part of the National Security Council, which he says would be a game changer, and I have to agree with that. You want to have people in the National Security Council who want to end this obfuscation and lying and nonsense. I mean, these people have testified. Lue Elizondo and David Grusch testified under oath. Karl Nell has been very outspoken in this. You would want to have, if you're interested in getting UFO disclosure from the government, these are the kind of people you would hope to see end up in the National Security Council. So that is, that's something to look forward to in the next couple of months. And I just want to point out too that he's talking about in the coming weeks and months. See, I like that he's saying in the coming weeks and months. He's not saying within 30 days. Or on such a date, this is going to happen. See, that's the way it should be, because nobody knows. Nobody can really foresee the future and absolute dates. When they start doing that, like I was talking about recently, then that raises a red flag for me. Christopher Sharp doesn't do that. He doesn't know when it's going to happen, but he's pretty confident that things are going to happen under the new Trump administration, and we shall see. Especially, the idea of guys like Grusch and Elizondo and Nell. To get them on the National Security Council, that would, most certainly. He says that would be a game changer, helping shape policy and efforts to navigate around gatekeepers to alleged rogue UAP retrieval and reverse engineering programs. So, that would be big. And he also talks about some of the other people, like the incoming CIA director, John Ratcliffe. He's been someone who has talked about UAP favorably about this. He's saying that there's a cover-up. He made statements to that effect in the past. And also the presumptive Secretary of State will be Marco Rubio, and he's someone also who has talked about, he's someone who advocates for transparency when it comes to this topic. And also Robert Kennedy Jr., who's talking about the assassination files of his John F. Kennedy, who, of course, was assassinated. So these are the kind of people that will be in Trump's administration, and some of them are advocating for UFO disclosure, and that would be great. And he also, Sharp writes, another pivotal figure will be National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who does not need to be confirmed by the Senate, meaning he will be ready to work on the UAP issue from day one if required. Waltz, a former Green Beret and current congressman, will hold a central role coordinating efforts within the National Security Council. He will have the ear of the president and advise him on security and foreign affairs issues daily. Despite past resistance to UAP legislation by the House Intelligence Committee, which Waltz has been a member of, he has shown potential as a UAP advocate. In 2023, addressing allegations from a former senior intelligence officer, David Grusch, of covert and rogue UAP programs by the United States government, Waltz stated, "We have been assured it's not our systems," and added, "That means that it's either our adversaries have things with capabilities that we weren't aware of and that we can't explain, or it's otherworldly. Either way, I want to know, and the American people deserve to know, what the hell it is," he declared. Yes, We American people deserve to know exactly, precisely what the hell it is and what the hell they have been covering up for all these decades. It's time to tell the truth, especially with the knowledge in the back of their heads that there is absolute proof of alien presence on this planet. And if the Pentagon and the secret control group want to continue with this game of make-believe straight out of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, well, they're going to have to answer to that then. And that means that they don't know anything about these aliens that we see with our own eyeballs, that we have proof of now, that are real, that are really here. Anyway, Waltz's close ties to UAP transparency champion Mike Gallagher add another layer of intrigue. Gallagher, now leading defense operations at Palantir, has supported UAP transparency. He was a star of the 2022 UAP House hearing and is responsible for adding the Wilson Davis document to the congressional record. Yeah, Mr. Gallagher was very open to this, so yeah, that would be good too. But then later on, he talks about there's other key figures here. I'm not going to read the entire article. I think you should check it out for yourself. But later on, he writes, Liberation Times understands that key whistleblowers have already spoken out with their testimony set for release in the coming days, weeks, or months. So there are other whistleblowers here that we have yet to hear from. So that's something to be looking forward to for sure in 2025. It's going to be nice to see more whistleblowers and what they have to say. And some insiders have already shed light on the potential reality of UAP and its non-human origin. Among those shedding light on the issue is Harold Malmgren, a former advisor to John F. Kennedy. In December 2024, Malmgren thanked Liberation Times for publishing an article by Jeff Cruikshank, which claimed that the 1962 Bluegill triple prime nuclear test brought down a craft of non-human intelligence. Malmgren revealed that he worked on the test as an advisor to the Joint Chiefs and praised Cruikshank's article for effectively explaining the significance of the test. When asked on X whether he knew a UAP had been brought down, Malmgren responded, "As soon as I received the report from Los Alamos in early November, at the same time as that report was made to JFK. This implies a JFK angle to UAP, something other sources have told Liberation Times." Yeah, I think that JFK knew about it. I mean, he would have had to know about it. I think some of the presidents, Truman, Eisenhower, JFK, they had to be aware of it. After Roswell happened, obviously Truman knew about it. Obviously Eisenhower definitely would have known about it. I mean, he was a top general in the United States in 1947, and then he became president. And if you're to believe the MJ-12 briefing document, then he was told all about it right when a couple of months before he was inaugurated. So yeah. I do think that, and I believe JFK knew too. I think that he knew, and some people believe that could be part of the reason why he was assassinated. I don't know if we're ever going to know the truth about what really happened with JFK, but that is a possibility. Anyway, if proven true, the connection between with JFK and UFOs, it says, if proven true, this connection could rewrite history, especially if President-elect Trump follows through on his promise to release further JFK assassination files despite potential opposition from the CIA. High-level disclosure of UAP information could also transform our understanding of history, physics, and the universe itself. It most certainly will. A recent podcast featuring Richard Bandurek, CEO of Field Propulsion Technologies, suggests that those involved in classified reverse engineering efforts involving UAP are becoming more emboldened to speak out. Appearing on the Ecosystemic podcast in December 2024, Bandurek, described as a lead developer of next-generation propellantless propulsion devices, stated, 40 years ago, I was involved in a company that used to do reverse engineering. And one of the things that came out of that experience was that some of the NGOs, the non-government officials that were trying to reverse engineer advanced technologies, reached out to us to take a look at some of the stuff they had. Bandurek became deeply curious as the materials he encountered were definitely way more advanced than the stuff we actually have. He noted being pulled into classified programs where he sought to determine whether the United States government was utilizing these technologies. It turned out that my conclusion was that the United States government was not, he remarked. He further elaborated on his observations, describing materials with extraordinary capabilities such as self-reconfiguration, cloaking, and the ability to disintegrate into dust when reverse engineered. Well, that's interesting. Just collapsing into a pile of dust. The isotropic analysis of the dust left behind tells you it's extraterrestrial, or at least that it was manufactured somewhere off Earth, Bandurek explained. Bandurek described these materials as hundreds of years more advanced than current human technology, with construction methods beyond the capabilities of even the largest aerospace corporations. That's how where my thinking has always been. I want to stop there for a second. Is that these creatures, I would have to imagine that reverse engineering this stuff has to be, I can't see how you could duplicate it. I think it's probably so advanced that just beyond anything we could, even the best scientists, the most brilliant minds that we have, I just find it hard to believe that we would be able to successfully, completely understand how these crafts operate after we recover a crash one. I just think it would, to me, it's like, like I talked about this in the past, like you could, send a solar calculator into the past and get it in the hands of Socrates, and they're never going to figure it out back then. They're never ever going to figure it out. And I think that's the case with what's going on with these beings here. I think they're so advanced. It's going to be, we might scratch a little bit on the surface if after recovering these craft and studying them, but I just can't imagine that we're ever going to completely figure it all out. I think it's just way beyond us. But anyway, continuing, he stated, these weren't just decades ahead of us. They were likely hundreds of years more advanced, he stated, highlighting the monumental challenges and implications of these discoveries if they can be verified outside of the classified world. The implications of upcoming disclosures extend beyond scientific advancement. They challenge our understanding of human history, governance, and humanity's place in the universe. These revelations could pave the way for new fields such as xenoscience, exopolitics, astrobiology, and exotheology. With the right steps, the Trump administration has an opportunity to lead a groundbreaking effort, one that could reshape the human story. Very excellent story. Thank you very much, Christopher Sharp. And I highly recommend to check out Liberation Times. I'm sure a lot of the people that subscribe to my channel are following Christopher Sharp and Liberation Times. I think of he's somebody who really, really is involved. Like, he's following this very closely, all of the stuff that's going on in Washington, and he always has some good news with this stuff to report. Always, he's at the forefront when it comes to what's going on in Washington and UFO disclosure efforts. So don't forget to check out his Liberation Times website. It's fantastic stuff on a regular basis. He always putting in writing up good articles, well-researched articles, lots of good quotes. I can't say enough about the work that Christopher Sharp does. But yeah, it's we'll see what goes on here. I think, like I've stated recently, I think 2025 is going to be a big year. There's no doubt in my mind. 2024 was a huge year, and it still continues into 2025 already. I mean, the drone situation, that's still with us. Despite not being talked about as much, but it is still something that's ongoing. We don't have the truth, I don't think, with regard to that from the government. And there's just other things, other outstanding things that need to be addressed as time goes on. And I know that this is going to be a big year for many, many reasons. Not just what's going on in Washington, but there's other people out there. We're pushing things. We're gonna keep trying to push that Vegas stuff into the spotlight this year, and because more people need to know about this, they need to see it. It's time that the dam finally breaks, instead of just having this story buried, because that's what it seems like it is. It's buried, and with people like me and a few others out there that talk about it, but it shouldn't be buried much longer. It's going to come out, and more people need to understand what's going on with it, and that's going to be something that happens this year as well. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about something that's going on in California. There's these wildfires going on right now out there. People's homes are getting destroyed. In fact, today I read that Mark Hamill, the famous actor who played Luke Skywalker, him and his family had to get out where they live because their house was in danger of being burned down. The famous actor James Woods, his house got burned down. The whole street on where he lived, all those houses apparently burned down. He said it was devastating. And so there's a lot of some people have died. There's been a couple of people who have died because of these wildfires, and but at the same time, there are people seeing strange objects in the sky, and we're going to talk about that. Here was an article. This is from avniologia.com, and you have to translate this page. It's written in Spanish. If you don't understand Spanish, but because I can't read Spanish. I'm very bad with other languages. In fact, in high school I took a year of French and I flunked it, and then I barely passed Spanish, and I had to switch over to Spanish, and I barely passed it. For some reason, some people are really good at picking up other languages. I'm not one of those people for whatever reason. My brain just doesn't. I just can't get it to work with another language. I wish I could. I envy people that are able to speak various languages. My brain just doesn't work that way. I'm really good at English, right? Other outside of that, though, I can't do it. Anyway, the headline here for this article: strange phenomena are recorded live during fires in California. The phenomena were captured during live broadcasts covering the ongoing wildfires in California. It says here, a massive wildfire known as the Palisades Fire is ravaging the Los Angeles area, putting thousands of lives at risk and forcing mass evacuations. Fueled by high winds and extreme weather conditions, the fire is advancing rapidly, destroying everything in its path and putting authorities on high alert. In addition, 2 other fires, the Eaton Fire and the Hearst Fire, are further complicating the situation, challenging the capabilities of firefighting teams. The Los Angeles County Fire Department gave an update Tuesday night on efforts to contain the rapidly advancing Palisades Fire, which has already forced the evacuation of tens of thousands of people due to the immediate threat to life. As of Wednesday morning, the Palisades Fire had burned more than 2,900 acres and remained at 0% containment. Wow. Meanwhile, firefighters are also battling the Eaton and Hearst fires, both of which are also at 0 containment. What a disaster, I gotta say. Anyway, the fires are moving at a staggering rate, the equivalent of 5 football fields per minute, according to Fox News, making it extremely difficult to contain the flames in densely populated areas. Of course, there's strong winds ain't making it any easier for them. But in addition to the environmental and human impacts, forest fires are expected to cause billions of dollars in economic damage. But then later on social media, users have begun sharing intriguing videos that appear to show anomalous phenomena occurring during the fires. In 2 short videos recorded on a TV screen, which are quickly going viral, it is possible to observe what appear to be unknown objects moving at high speed through the footage. Furthermore, another video, also recorded by a viewer directly from his television screen, shows what appear to be 2 anomalous, enigmatic, and intriguing luminous phenomena in the sky, arousing even more curiosity and speculation among internet users. Yeah, we'll play this one here. I'm going to have to mute the sound for it because these 2 guys are talking and they're cursing up a storm. Yeah, you can see this devastating fire and the buildings in the foreground here, and in the background, a devastating fire. But then, look at this. Look at this object flying through the screen there. What is that?
What is this purple thing right here? You tell me.
And then what's this purple thing right here? Like what? There's a weird object there floating around. Weird object here, and then another object is going to show up in a different spot. Right here. Now there's 2 guys, if you watch this video, they're cursing their heads off, using F-bombs, so that's why I have that one muted. Anyway, let's go forward. Anyway, the article continues. It said it is not known for sure whether the phenomena are directly linked to the fires, as information is still emerging. Some speculate that the dense smoke in conjunction with atmospheric issues may be the cause. However, others actually argue that the presence of unidentified anomalous phenomena may be related to the event. Other viewers also captured images of objects moving at high speed at other moments during the coverage of the fires. In a post on Twitter, one user described having recorded the phenomenon, but said he did not know under any circumstances what it could be. Okay, let's just look at this video here.
Coming in, the Palisades is our neighbor, Topanga, Mandeville Canyon. We really want to welcome everybody into our city, and also for our residents here who are being evacuated, we want to make sure that they see us there. with those that are receiving them at these shelters. So I plan to be wherever I need to be.
Right there.
People
there's an object
to push out information. We're asking people to follow
floating through the screen. What is that? It looks like it's intelligently controlled to make moves like that. It's moving around in circles. I mean, that is very, very strange, folks. Very, very strange, I gotta say. I mean, unless it's some giant burning ember that just flew up in the sky and now it's flying or moving around like that, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Pretty weird to me.
This is something that you saw from afar.
Most certainly. Anyway, moving forward, the article says some users have also speculated that the fires may have been intentionally set and that the phenomena could have been caused by targeted weapons. While these hypotheses are more exotic, they cannot be ruled out. But before we move on to such explanations, we should explore more conventional alternatives. Indeed, we still do not know for sure what caused these events. Over time, we hope that new records will emerge and help us better understand what really happened and what is going on. Well, okay, wildfires, if you look at, the history of stuff, like wildfires are something that's been picked up, they have picked up over the last, over the last few decades. There's more than ever now, worse than ever. Hurricanes, I mean, it's, people talk about it. Some people don't like to talk about it, but the reality is that there is some kind of climate change ongoing. I mean, anybody who was as old as me, I live in Pennsylvania right now. When I was a kid growing up, I mean, it was a lot different. Winters were a lot colder than they are these days. Winters were a lot more snow than there is now. There's just differences that you could just, you know that there's something going on. You have to wonder too, these aliens, if it is alien, if some of these things that people are seeing are aliens, I mean, this is nothing new, really. I mean, they always show up over disasters. I mean, there's how many different UFOs have been seen over all sorts of catastrophes. It's something that happens on a regular basis. I mean, it seems it's something that's always been going on. I mean, you have to wonder, are they recording this stuff for posterity? When you think about things like, for instance, the Ariel school incident, all those kids, those 60 kids back in 1994, back in a little school in Zimbabwe, during a recess, the craft lands, we've talked about this a million times, and aliens get out, and one of the aliens communicates telepathically with some of these children, and they put messages in their heads, images in their heads of destruction, fires, explosions, destruction, and says that technology is not a good thing, basically, and I don't know. That seems to be what the message was. And now we're seeing these things. We see UFOs hovering over these disasters sometimes. And are they just, who knows? Maybe they're going to, use it as a cautionary tale to other planets at some point. I don't know, but maybe this is it. Maybe things are happening here, and maybe it's too late. Maybe they're trying to warn us, over 30 years ago by telling those kids, hey, technology is no good. This is what's going to happen if you don't take care of it. Now, look at all the disasters that we have on a regular basis. And on top of it, we're all pointing nuclear missiles at each other. And things could happen. There's wars right now. People are dying. We're killing ourselves all the time. Are they concerned about us? Or are they just recording the destruction for historical purposes that they could throw it in their record books later on? Who knows? But it's possible. Some of these things, I mean, that one object was moving around. That looked pretty strange. That did not look like... it looked like it was intelligently controlled. That's what it looked like to me, but it doesn't make me right. I think I'm sure that other people could look at this, other experts. You can't trust the debunkers. They're always going to tell you it's always going to be completely one-sided with them. They'll always have an explanation. You need to have people who have open minds, experts with open minds to look at these things and tell us whether there's something out of place here or something that doesn't make sense. That's what we need. Okay, now I want to get into this new segment that it's going to be a recurring segment every once in a while when needed. It's not going to happen all the time, but it's going to be a new little segment. And I want to do this because, I take great pleasure in certain things that I do. And some of the stuff I don't really talk about on the show, but I'm going to start every once in a while. I get a lot of great comments from a lot of people, right? I would have to say well over 90% of the comments are very welcoming. I love reading the comments from people. Sometimes I get great stories from people about some of their experiences, but every now and then you get the troll, right? You get a troll that sends you a comment, and sometimes they're pretty bad. and they're so stupid sometimes. I'm like, I can't have this person commenting on my on Spotify or YouTube. This is trolling. There's nothing here. It's not even funny half the time. It's stupid, and so I end up having to block them. Every once in a while, somebody comes out of the woodwork where it's okay. Well, unfortunately, I have to block this person. Okay, and that happened just recently. Within the past week, there was a comment that came on Spotify, and I had to block it. I had to block this person because it was just so dumb. I couldn't, it's like I'm not gonna just leave this person comment anymore because they didn't have anything good to say. I mean, I don't mind constructive criticism, right? But I don't like comments like this. This was from some guy named Donnie McCormick 84. He said, and he wrote, "The government won't respond to you because you're a blanking moron." And what he's talking about there, he's talking about the letter that I had sent to the Pentagon last June, on June 11th, where I laid out the entire Vegas alien case for them with links and images and said, hey, this is real. Obviously, I was hoping to get a response from them, and they never responded. And I was talking about it in a recent episode, and then this Donnie McCormick 84 responded. I mean, that's trolling. The government, okay, there's nothing here. There's nothing qualified. This is just internet nonsense, internet trolling. So I take great pleasure a lot of times when I do get comments like this in blocking that person from ever commenting again. So with that in mind, I created this new little segment. It's called Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. And this today is going to be the first episode. And here's I actually created a little bumper to start us off here. Welcome to another episode of Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. Okay, now let's go back to the comment again. Let's look at his comment. Now the problem I have with this, and this is the reason why I had to get rid of this guy, and the reason I blocked him, because not only was he just trolling, but he called me a moron. But at the same time, he didn't use proper grammar, and so he had the audacity to call me a moron but at the same time when he says "you're" instead of writing YOU''RE, you're a blanking moron. He wrote "you're" YOUR. Now the irony there. Immediately I saw it, and that immediately I had to take, I erased his message forever and blocked him from ever commenting again. And I'm sending him off to the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. And that is because, and I just want to tell you, the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy, it was inspired by the one Twilight Zone episode, It's a Good Life. Or there was this one Twilight Zone episode where this little kid had this power, he could do anything, and some people he didn't like, he would send them to the cornfield. So that's where that inspired me to create this Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. And unfortunately, that's going to happen to that's where Donnie McCormick 84 is going. And here he goes. Donnie McCormick 84, you have been banished to the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. Oh! So there you go. There's my new little segment. It's going to be recurring. I don't know how often. It's not going to be, I'm not saying it's weekly. It could be monthly. It could be every 3 months. It could be once a year. I don't know. It depends on when I get a comment like this. Then I send them off to the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. I banish them there forever. But I thought it was fun because I have fun getting rid of these people when they comment like that. I thought you might have fun too when I banished them to the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. All right, I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.